The 10th Amendment was instituted in the Bill of Rights to ensure that the federal government would only exercise the powers that were stated in the Constitution. All other powers that are not directly referred in the United States Constitution were delivered to the individual states. The idea of the 10th Amendment was already stated in the Articles of Confederation, just in other words, as it says that each state retains its sovereignty, freedom, and independence, and every power, jurisdiction, and right, which is not by this Confederation expressly delegated to the United States in Congress assembled. Though the 13 states had already been declared sovereign and independent states by the Articles of Confederation, there was an ongoing debate that the Constitution was first being presented would ultimately exclude state sovereignty. The debate was between Federalist and Anti-Federalist. The men who disliked the idea of the Constitution were the Anti-Federalist and stressed the notion that the Constitution would result into a centralized power where the individual freedom of the people does not exist, therefore leading James Madison into writing the 10th Amendment. New York versus United States. Congress had implemented the Low-Level Radioactive Waste Management Act in 1985, but a conflict arises and was brought into attention in 1992 when New York argued that this federal action required states to have radioactive waste disposal sites in their own state, yet it was a violation of state sovereignty. Basically, New York is asserting that the federal government does not have the power to enact such regulations for the states. There were set orders of the Act of Disposing Radioactive Waste, which included a monetary incentive, which states were to be persuaded into providing waste locations of their own. An access incentive. The states who did not provide a waste site can be declined entry of another state's waste site. A take title incentive. It is the state's responsibility to take care of their waste if the state decides to not participate in supplying a certain location for radioactive waste. The decision of the Supreme Court was 6-3 for approving the first two provisions due to the Commerce Clause giving Congress the authority to use financial incentives and approval to use disposable sites for waste management. However, the third provision was not approved because it takes away state sovereignty on how the state should manage their waste system, thus violating the 10th Amendment.